Alright, and then the Guardian's going to swing at Doc with 1 die and misses. Alright, let's hold back the darkness. Another turn. 5 will fail. That gets us another darkness card, which is called Unknown Frontier. Whenever the hero posse marker enters the blood splatter space on the depth track, every hero currently in an otherworld takes 3 horror hits. Remains in play. Ooh, which reminds me, I gotta remember, excuse me, we take 1 point of damage if we roll a 1 because we are in Targa. So Doc should have 1 and Pete should have 1. 1 extra wound. And they get recovered grit on a 1 or a 2, which I don't know if I've rolled any 2s for movement, but I need to remember that. I am pretty bad, if you've watched my Outlaw Joseph Scott series, pretty bad with remembering otherworld special abilities, which is one of the reasons why I don't. I try to avoid the other worlds if I can, the majority of the time, because I don't want to keep forgetting a lot of the rules for you guys. You guys deserve better than that. So one of the disadvantages of playing, by yourself, trying to keep track of everything in your head. I'm much better when there's other people keeping track of various things, putting the wounds down and things like that, and then I'm better at keeping track of the special effects than I am when I do solo play here. But that was holding back the darkness. Right, we got a darkness card, and the darkness had moved up, so it's back around to Bechamel. So terror. Hey, she doesn't take any sanity damage. Good. All right. Roll to move. She's fine. All right, shooting with her pistol. All right, 1 critical hit. She does have 1 grit. You know what? She's going to use it. It's still a miss. All right. This is -1 on the die. Is 4 wounds. That is enough to take him out. 1 extra. Boom. Bechamel. Hurrah! So that was the first enemy of this new campaign, this new series. It was a Guardian of Targa. Extra large, extra tough enemy. Granted, he was damaged, but don't forget, these are also level 1 heroes with no special items or weapons at all. That was pretty rough. Alright, well, so since she did that, she killed him, so she gets to catch her breath and heal 1. She'll heal 1 wound. She's only got 1 sanity and 2 wounds because we've done various other healing. And that leaves Doc and Pete. They each have a grit, so I think actually they want to heal themselves rather than getting a grit. Doc automatically gets a grit at the start of a combat anyway, and yeah, I think that's just going to be the best way to do it. So we will go with that. So, so Doc will try to heal 2. We do have 1 bandages left. I think he's going to heal 2 sanity since he had 6. So now he's got 5 wounds and 4 sanity points of damage. And then Pete, I think, is going to do the same thing because he's got 7 sanity. So he's going to heal 3. That puts it down to 4 sanity. Sometimes sanity is going to be a pain. Sometimes it's not. All right. Now the good part: loot, 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 loot. What do we get? We need gear and artifacts of the weapon variety, I think. So, Bechamel gets... this come in handy. She gets an artifact. Huzzah! The Doc gets... Otherworld, it's a gear card. Sorry. There you go, gear card. Hey, that all works. And the Cowboy gets... $100. Okay. That is all extremely useful. So let's see what they get. All right, and this is what we get. So for the gear card, we find a lucky hat, +1 luck, and once per venture, re-roll any one die. So that's good. I think Doc will probably give that to Bechamel, get her luck up to 4 for her things. And Bechamel's artifact is the gate rifle. Oh, if I can see that, it's so hard to see that I can see. A gate rifle, 2-handed, range 10, 2 shots, critical hits on 5 or 6, and it does have a Darkstone icon. So I think we're going to give that to Pete. He does have the ribbon, which lets him remove a corruption point from himself at the end of each adventure. We are all next to each other, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to give the pistol to Doc, the gate rifle to Pete, then the hat to Bechamel. Could have been worse. Not bad. We did get 1 weapon, and so now everybody has a weapon. Now Doc can at least shoot if he's not close to anybody, and Pete can now critical more easily. And at some points, we probably want to get Bechamel something that uses a D8 to hit. That way, her 6+ her to hit rolls of 6+, doing +1 damage, will have a greater range of being able to do that. But that is ahead of time, so we get rid of this model. And we need to hold back the darkness because we need to keep going. Try to get out of here. Double 5s. Now it doesn't push the track, which I guess is a good thing. Echoes of Death. For a moment, ghostly figures of a long-dead race can be seen moving through the halls. Excuse me. As you look on in disbelief, one of them stops and looks back at you. One random hero in the target plateau immediately takes 2d6 horror hits. Ugh. Random hero is Bechamel. Well, I guess she does the least amount of damage. So she takes 2d6 horror hits. So she's going to take 6 horror hits. 2, 3, 6 saves. Even 4+. She saved 2 of them, and that would give her 4 points. And I don't think I want to... Well, she has no fortune. So... and no grit. And I don't want to use the lucky hat yet. So she takes 4 points. So she's at 5 sanity. So she's up with everybody at right around where everybody else is. Alright. Then she gets to move. Roll for movement. 2. 2 gets Targa. Get her a grit. Does not do a wound. Okay, so 1, 2. Doc. It's a 1. So Doc takes a hit. Again, no defense though. But he does also get a grit. And then Pete. Again. Takes a wound. Gets a grit. Alright, folks. Come on. Stop lollygagging. Alright, let's hold back the darkness again. An 11 is good. Bechamel. I think they want Bechamel to go first. Nope. And she's like, I'm not having any of that. So she takes a wound, gets a grit. It's kind of funny. The advantage is we're starting to pile on some grit. Doc. Alright. These are different dice, by the way. I'm changing the die every time I'm rolling. Alright, he's at max grit. Oh, actually, his max grit's only 2. Never mind. He'll have to use that to move. So it's forcing you. Ha! Ha, Doc. Alright. Well, you know, I forgot we can scavenge here, too. Oh, well. Let's go ahead and look through and find the heart. Alright, let's kind of move all that stuff out of the way. Get an exploration token, make sure everybody can see that. It's a little far up. Zoom back out. That's right, because we had the combat. Let's put it on this side so that awesome. What does that leave us with? That leaves us with Pete. Boy, the snow is just apparently there is a blizzard going on, and they are really having trouble moving through the snow here, because again, though, he's already at max grit, so make sure there's nothing else he can do with the grit. No. Alright. Move a little bit forward. Alright, let's see what we get. We have 2 exits, a Growing Dread card, and an encounter. So throw the Growing Dread into the stack. That is our second clue token. We do get an encounter card. And there are 2 exits. So which direction is not an exit? Not an exit is 6, which according to the map is the doorway to the right. So we'll put that there. And then we have an encounter. So the encounter is Long Abandoned. Ancient webs cover the walls, and ice crystals have grown up from the floor around the edges of the room and passages. It's impossible to know how long this place has been abandoned and what ancient civilization once lived here. Everybody gets to make a lore tech. If successful, for each 5+ roll, gain 10 experience and draw a scavenge card as something in the shadows catches your eye. Okay. So I think everybody had a 3 lore. So Bechamel gets nothing. Doc gets nothing. Oh, sorry. It's a 5+. Alright, I forgot exactly what I rolled. I forgot it's not a normal scavenge. It's essentially a scavenge. Confused me because it was 3 dice, because we have a 3 lore. So it's a lore 5+. For each 5+, we get 10 experience and draw a scavenge card. So, wipe out whatever I rolled. I'm not going to go back and look. So Bechamel, here's her lore 5+ test. She gets 1 success. So she gets 10 experience and a scavenge card, which says nothing. Nothing here. Getting lots of nothing heres. All right, Doc gets 2. Gets a small find for 25. And a small find for 50, so $75. And then Pete gets 1, which gives a useful discovery, get a gear card. This room was kind of loaded. So we're looking for a gear card. What do we get? And we find a vicious axe. Your combat hits are +1 damage, and he's +1 initiative. So that, I think that is going to Doc. He's got a pistol and the axe. So now that would be a good question. Do I give the second pistol to Bechamel so she's rolling 4 dice, but then she also can't critical? But she does get the +1 damage for each 6 or better. Nah, let's leave it with Doc so that he can be useful at range. I think we're good with that. Alright. So that is 2 of our 3 clues. Alright. Next, so let us hold back the darkness. A 7 will hold back the darkness. Because we are at 13 still. We have not gone very far. So Bechamel rolls to move. A 2. Well, she's at max grit. I gotta remember though, when she gets a grit, she gets a fortune. So that will put her up to her max fortune, and then she'll use it to move another 6, so she can move 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sounds like a plan. Let's shift this stuff over. Make sure we got enough room. And it's still on the thing. All right, excellent. And then she will look through. Let's see what we see. It is the orb room. Okay, the orb room goes like that. Shift this up, make sure you guys can see everything. Okay. Get another exploration token there. Alright, what else we got? What's we got? Alright, Doc. Let's move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Pete gets to move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he might as well scavenge that space. Because we didn't do an actual scavenge, we did long abandoned. Lets him draw one more card. Which is another nothing here. So I'm actually, I didn't want to say anything before I drew, but you know, I've drawn a lot of nothings here, but I have not drawn too many bad scavenge cards this game. So I'm sure I just jinxed myself. So note to self: don't scavenge anymore this game. But so in that sense, we've been kind of lucky. All right, this is it's the last one. So this is the final battle. All right, nice. All right, so we ignore that. We're going to close this room off. This looks like a nice, actually, room for thematically for the final battle. Boom. Now let's see what we get to fight. Epic threat. Now we are pretty much all hurt, but we do have 1 revive. So that's the thing to keep in mind, is we do have 1 revive token. We are still a 7+ for holding back the darkness. Darkness is still only at 4. We've had lots of doubles rolled. And we are facing... Interesting. So, this is one of the new ones. I have not run into them yet. It is a Flesh Stalker, and we need a Peril Dice of Flesh Drones with 1 Sinister Experiment. So, a Peril Dice of Flesh Drones. So we have 6 Flesh Drones. Okay, so this is probably going to be a very, very difficult fight since we rolled the maximum of 6 flesh drones and the Sinister Experiment. So let's get that. Let me get that set up. All right. So first, let me kind of get the map a little bit better, a little bit easier for you. Oops. Let's zoom in a smidge, can we? There you go. Right. This table's not quite flat. All right, that gets you a little bit more room. Closer look. All right, so we need to figure out. So the Flesh Stalker has 2d6 initiative. So let's see what his initiative is. His initiative is 8. Interesting. Okay, so we know his initiative is 8. So he's going to go on last. So we start with the Flesh Drones. Back here. So, and I will apologize in advance. There are 2 of the Flesh Drones that been having trouble getting one of the arms to stick on for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. I haven't had trouble with other models, but for some reason the glue just doesn't like the glue on those models. But all right, so we'll try to kill them off first. So I might swap them out as they get killed. All right. So what a Sinister Experiment is. So there's one Sinister Experiment. For each Sinister Experiment, draw a low threat card. Find the first enemy type listed on that card, and then roll once on that enemy type's elite chart to see what the experiment has done. So, basically, it's going to turn the Flesh Drones into something. So let's see what the Flesh Drones have been experimented with. They have been kind of had the DNA of something spliced into them. Low threat card is Void Spider. So it's actually a Void Spider and Strangler low threat card. But they have Void Spiders. So that means they're going to have something from the Void Spider chart, which could be nasty, but it does kind of fit in with Targa. All right, so we roll, and it is a 3 on the chart for Void Spiders, which is Thick Ichor. They have +2 health. So the Flesh Drones have 2 additional points of health. So that's not horrible. I mean, it sucks, but so they're 7 health each. Looks like they got a 2 defense. Let's see. So the Flesh Stalker. So it had the initiative, the 2d6 for their initiative. So you have to roll that. They've got Terror 3. They have a Tools of Terror. So at the start of each turn, we're going to be drawing a Tools of Terror card, which will do something. I am not exactly sure what it does. Sinister Methods, their 2 hit rolls of 6+, do double damage. They can move through other models and change his targets each turn. He's also immune to critical hits unless you're adjacent to him. And Shadow Shift, who will Shadow Shift after making its combat attack each turn, as well as after any attack in which it takes 3 or more wounds. When it Shadow Shifts, it bounces 3 times like dynamite, swapping spaces with any model moved into it. When swapping with a hero, the hero takes a d6 wounds, ignoring defense and armor. Okay, ouch. He's only got a melee attack, though. He's got 4 combat doing 3 damage and a 4 defense. He's also got 24 plus 3 per hero, so 9, so 33 hit points, 33 health. The flesh drones are a 4 initiative. They have endurance 3, so they cannot take more than 3 wounds from any single hit. They have a 4+ melee. They move 8. Only 2 combat. Their damage. So their damage, they got vicious weapons. So the flesh drone hits ignore armor, and have damage equal to their to hit roll. So ouch. So it's going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 damage per hit. And they've said they have 2 defense and 7 health. Well, this is not going to be pleasant, but let's see what we can do. And Flesh Sucker's large. I don't know that the lasso is going to help a lot, but it might help a little on him. Oh, except the lasso doesn't count because he automatically breaks free from the lasso because he can move through other models. Alright, well, might be better to put it on a drone. Okay, so let us hold back the darkness because it is the start of another turn. And 8 is good. Alright, well at initiative 5, Bechamel gets to go first. And she has a range of 6. There's nothing in range of... Well, she gets to move. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, the Flesh Stalker and 1 drone is in range. You know what? I think I need to wheedle them. You know, knock them down. So let's go for shooting at the Flesh drone over here. Let's try to kill some Flesh drones. Okay. I'm going to spend a grit to reroll this die. Nice. Alright. And then she's going to spend 2 fortune, 1 for each of those dice, to turn them into 6s. So, well, attempt to. We have a luck of 4, so here's the first attempt. We have at least 1 success, which we get, so that can turn that into a 6. Again, we can't turn it into anything higher than a 6. Or higher than the die it uses, I should say. And then the other one, I did get 1 success. Alright, so 2 6s. 2 6s, alright. So with that in mind, maybe I do want to hit the Flesh Stalker. Let's see, so I'm going to be +1... ignores defense. Oh, the Flesh Stalker is immune to critical hits unless you're adjacent. So we're going to ignore that. So yeah, she's going to shoot Flesh Drones. Well, at least with 1 of them. Put it that way. Because I should check. Theoretically, if I roll a 6, this will kill the Flesh Drone with 1 shot. So, nope. So there's 4. Because again, he's got 7. And that is enough to kill Mr. Flesh Drone. Good. Alright, Doc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, okay. Yeah, and Flesh Stalker can move 12. So Doc can go ahead and charge straight in. So let's... I should check. He's got terror. So I forgot, actually, Bechamel has to make terror. So she takes 2 more sanity points. Okay. Doc has to make his terror test. He takes 1. Okay. Now he will go look at moving. 2, that gets him a grit, which lets him, again, he's already at max grit, so he'll add to his movement, and that is enough to charge the Flesh Stalker. Alright. Melee attack on the Flesh Stalker. Because remember, Doc is now initiative 5 because he has the axe. to Vicious Axe, which is what he's going to do. Since he, I guess I should have said at the start of the turn that he was going to use the axe. But that is what he's doing. 2 hits, one of which is a critical. Nice. All right. So critical hit, and he's not. Fleshstalker is not immune to that. Oh, and he should. Oh, let me finish this. Oh. Except the Fleshstalker should go first. Okay. Let's back this up a little bit. Back this up a little bit because the Fleshstalker at initiative 8 goes before everybody. So, but we just remember we had one critical that did 5 damage and 1 non-critical hit on the Fleshstalker because it's not really going to matter. All right. So who is the Fleshstalker going to attack? Oh, and we need the Tools of Terror. So it's all right. Rewind a little bit. Got ahead of myself. Was so used to them. All right. So we start with Varesik's Blade. At the end of its move this turn, the Fleshstalker attacks all adjacent heroes. Anytime a hero takes 1 or more wounds from the Fleshstalker this turn, they gain a bleeding marker. Ouch. Okay. And that's just for this turn. That is his tool this turn. So who is he going to attack? He is going to attack. Not that it really matters. He's going to attack the dock. All right. So that's fine. He's going to move here. Boom. End of the move. He gets to attack all adjacent heroes. So is that an actual attack? Like 1 die, or is it a full-on 4 dice attack? Huh. Seems awfully nasty if he rolls like the full 4. Oh, these guys are also, well, the Fleshstalker is also an alien. So which means he gets +1 initiative and +1 damage. Oh, just on ranged attacks. Okay, so never mind. But you know what? I think it's probably the full 4 dice attack. So on Bechamel, he hits on 3s. Jesus, sorry, didn't mean. Jeez. So 3 hits. Defense. Well, she dodges them all. Well, that's good. Doc. 3 hits. And 1 does double damage. Okay, so here's the double damage. Oh, he dodges it. Dodges, so he only takes 1. So 3 points of damage on Doc. And he gets a bleeding marker, which is not going to be pleasant. And then 4 dice on Pete. 3 hits. Pete gets hit once for 3, and he is also bleeding. And that was just the special blade, because now he actually gets his attack on Doc, which is 4 more. Doc is actually going to use his last bandage before that to try to heal some wounds. He heals 2. That's probably not going to be enough to save him. 3 more hits. Doc doesn't dodge any, so that's 9, which will put him over his 12. So, actually, he can grit. Never mind. Let's grit that. that didn't help at all anyway. So, alright. Well, so that uses our revive token. And Pete is not in a good way. However, he is blocked from getting attacked, which is a good thing anyway. Okay. So actually, let's take him back. So Bechamel had her turn first. And she had 2 critical hits. She spent those to get critical hits. And I think there was a total of 8 wounds done between them, between the 2 shots. Since she can no longer, since she's adjacent, she can no longer move. I mean, I guess I could have tried to escape, but you know what? I think she's okay. And I don't want to have them get to Pete. So let's just do the 8 points. No, because she is adjacent, she actually can get the critical hits in. So 8 points on the Flesh Stalker. Alright, and then we were doing Doc. So Doc had a critical for 5. Plus 1 for the axe is 6. Alright, and then he has one more. He has the non-critical, which does 4 plus 1 is 5. Minus 4 defense is 1. Oh, okay. Alright, so there's so much going on. Alright, the Flesh Stalker was supposed to have shadow shifted after it made its attack. I've gone back enough. I'm not going to redo that. The Flesh Stalker has a lot of rules, and I'm not having ever used him. I apologize. He's also supposed to shift after each attack in which he takes 3 or more wounds. So I am not going to. I'm going to do him now. Have him shift now after the second attack that Doc did. That's just all I'm going to do. So rather than trying to go back and remember what things were what. So the way the shadow shift works, he's going to bounce 3 times like dynamite. So put the chart there. Let's see where he goes. So we've got an 8. So he's going to shift here. Boom. So that means Bechamel takes a d6 wounds, ignoring defense and armor. Good lord. Alright, so she's going to take 3 wounds. Well, I guess this is why he's an epic threat. A 6. Now he's going to swap with Doc. So Doc takes 4 wounds. And then a 2, he's going to swap with Doc again, which does another 3 wounds to Doc. That seems ridiculous and completely... But, especially for first level characters. But it is an epic threat. It is an epic threat, and... I think we're going to need to... Well, I don't think Doc can live. That's the thing. Doc's now got 7 wounds of 12, and he's got all those Flesh Stalkers. And Bechamel only has 10, and you have to flee at the start of the turn. So I think both Bechamel and Doc are going to get knocked out before I can flee. In one round, just that Flesh Stalker, without any drones, he has nearly dropped all 3 of our characters. Because he had that knife that hit them all, and then his bouncing around didn't miss anybody, so it hit them, and that is just nasty. especially for first level characters. So, well, they may have some injuries. We'll have to see. We do have the doctor though, who can actually attempt to heal stuff. All right. Well, the flesh drones. So we got 1 on Bechamel, 3 on Doc. That's about all we can do. So the 1 on Bechamel, he's only got 2 dice. Hit on 4s. Well, of course he gets 2 hits. All right. So the 6 blocks and the 5. Nope. So she's going to take 5 wounds. Is that right? You know what? She's going to spend a grit to re-roll. She dodges. Okay. We're good. So she's not getting knocked out. All right. So Doc. Doc is getting attacked by 2, 4, 6 points. Hitting on 4s. Oh, thank goodness. All right. Now, I mean, I guess that's average. 3 hits. Okay. Oh, sorry. Only the 6 and the 4. Because they hit on 4 plus. All right. So dodging the 6. He dodges the 6. Whoa. And the 4. He dodges the 4. He's only got a 5 plus defense, you know. Well, I still don't think that I want to... well, Pete gets to go. So Pete, roll your terror. He saves all of them. Roll for your movement. Okay, well, he gets a grit, which he can't use because he's already maxed on grit. He will try, actually, he doesn't want to try to escape because he wants to shoot him from adjacent. Not that it's going to make a difference. So, yeah, he's just going to shoot with the rifle. He does critical on 5s and 6s, so we'll spend a grit to re-roll the 2. Nope. 1 critical hit. Roll for damage. For 5. 5 more wounds. A little bit more experience that we get. That is 20 health. The Fleshstalker's down to 13, but you know, everybody's about ready to go down. So not a lot of experience for the team. We did pick up a couple items, but not much. Oh, this is trying to run an epic fight with 3 heroes, and run into, you know, the Guardian first. It's just horrible. I forgot I could have lassoed somebody, which might have been handy when the Stalker moved in, since he was doing that attacks on everybody. And that would have been 3 dice instead of 4 on everybody, and 3 dice on his normal attack. But, and that's when I probably should have done it, but I didn't. I knew it was going to be rough when I rolled the full 6 flesh drones. Not much I can do. Yeah, start of the turn, I think we're going to flee. Even with single player, you know, starting out, Joseph ran. These epic threats are just, you know, I don't really want to go in with injuries and risk losing arms and stuff. We gained a little bit of experience. We gained a couple weapons. We didn't get any Darkstone, but we gained a couple weapons. You know, unfortunately, there are no, like, we didn't really have any easy fights. We had the one fight with the Damaged Guardian, and then the final fight. So, not also a lot, but it was exciting. But run away, Fleshstalker! We're not ready for you. We're not ready for you. I do have to remember, I do like the fortune points for the gambler. Yeah, I think I think it's interesting. So there you have it, folks. there is the first episode. So some final thoughts on the characters so far. I like the gambler. I like the tricks. I think they play really well with the high roller. Either the reroll or especially the tip the scales, letting me use fortune to bump up dice. Being able to bump up the dice to do the +1 damage is really nice. And getting the fortune back, recovering fortune back whenever I get a grit is going to be useful. Obviously, the free bandages for the doctor are very useful. Oh, you know what? And I completely didn't pay attention. He gets when he uses the bandages, he gets +3 to the roll. So he would be healing more. Jeez, didn't even. I need to pay attention to that again. Getting used to new characters, and their abilities. And then the cowboy. I mean, the lasso's pretty nice. I like that. I do need to remember the cowboy. If he's out of grit, he has a chance of recovering 1 grit each turn, and that includes town stays. For some reason, when I read it just as a town stay. But looking at it now, at the start of each turn or day if in town, if you have no grit, he can recover a grit on a 4+. I need to remember that and have him make sure he uses his grit. And then, the lasso can be pretty useful, especially using it at a critical turn to reduce down the combat and defense of an enemy. At least even if it's just for 1 turn, like with the Guardian. And then if you can keep them lassoed, then they then they can't move either. So that's pretty nice. I like the characters. Unfortunately, they are all low in spirit, which is going to be a challenge. Nobody's super great in lore. Nobody's super great in agility either. I mean, their best agility is a 3. They've all got some pretty good cunning. They're not great with strength. Pete's a 4, Doc's a 3 now with the gloves, and Bechamel's a 2. They're all 3 lore. Luck's pretty bad, except for Bechamel, who is now a 4. That's not bad. It's nice now that Doc is, at least for now, +1 damage in melee, and he gets +1 initiative. So he is now on a 5 initiative, same as Bechamel. So that will be handy as far as that goes. Yeah, I haven't really didn't have a chance to use Pete's ability for using a grit to hit other enemies. It is a question of it's the downside is his weapon causes criticals on a 5 or 6, and he doesn't. His ability just causes a hit, right? It's not a to hit roll. It's just a hit. So that his ability is going to be much more powerful with a weapon that adds to damage. Because then that would apply to additional hits for those extra enemies that he's going to hit, adjacent enemies he's going to hit. But still, that's still not bad. Still not useful. And if nothing else, the gate rifle eventually will probably sell, and gets worth 950. So it'll be worth something for picking up some other stuff. In fact, it might even be worth, I don't know, is it worth selling it now to let them buy some other, cheaper, lower priced items in town? I haven't looked at the town stuff, but again, if we get a shotgun, we get just the basic shotgun for Bechamel. I don't know how much that costs. And then we get Pete. Is there a weapon in town that gives +1 damage? A ranged weapon? I seem to recall there is in one of the shops, but I could be wrong. But I could look, because if there is, certainly I think there are melee weapons, but I think if there's a gun that can do +1 damage, then that might be worthwhile to sell the gate rifle, pick up a damage +1, and then see if we can get a shotgun for Bechamel. Doc's already in pretty good shape with a pistol and the axe. I'm not a huge fan of the axe. I mean, I like the axe because it does +1 damage. But I also am in favor of more dice, and it's only got 1 slot. The +1 initiative is okay, but I feel he needs more, dice all the time. And of course, some armor wouldn't be bad for any of them, but especially for him. But we picked up some good stuff. The axes are good for now. The gate rifle is good for now, and the hat for Bechamel to get her extra luck, which again plays right into tip the scales, letting her adjust. She's got a much better chance now of adjusting a 4 up to a 6 if she really needed to, with 4 dice needing 5s as opposed to, say, 3 dice needing 5s. So it was good. It was. I'm sorry that there were only the 2 fights, one against the damaged Guardian, and then the final fight with the epic Flesh Stalker. And I'm sorry we kind of went into the other world, where so we didn't get to see all the new encounters. Although there were some of these are new encounters that were in the Targa Plateau, because we did have the Targa expansion, and I did shuffle those in. So. You did get some expanded stuff. We saw some of the expanded darkness cards, but the darkness didn't move up too much because I rolled doubles several times. But you did see some of the new ones, the aliens, and the hero if the hero posse marker goes onto a blood splat, they take horror hits and things like that. Yeah. So that's it. Overall, I think this group will work out well. I need to remember that Bechamel's fortune abilities, the tip the scales and fortune saver, can actually be used for other people. It's any dice. It's not just her dice. So she can use grit for herself, and then theoretically use tip the scales. For example, changing Pete's 4s into 5s and making them critical hits with the gay rifle. Got to remember that that's a possibility. She doesn't have to use them just for herself. It's any die. Can also be used for encounter dice or enemy dice to hit and things like that. So I got to remember that. There's a lot to do with the Gambler. But I am kind of really kind of digging the Gambler and being able to do that. You just have to generate those fortune points. Which, I think their starting abilities have each of them have a couple different ways to do it. And I think some of their skills in their skill tree give them ways to recover fortune points as well. And increase their max. Because they start with max. They start the adventure at max. And every time you catch your breath, you recover a D3 fortune, which I completely forgot in this as well. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yes, each time. But I did do one thing wrong. The tip the scales can only be used once. Each trick can only be used once per turn. So I wouldn't be able to adjust both, 2 dice. In fact, it's once per turn. Yeah. But looking forward to town, because the Gambler can gamble in town. She collects extra money gambling in town because she's so good at gambling. And she's got a good cunning and a good luck, 4 of each. So she should be able to rake in some money early on to help us buy stuff. And then in town, the Cowboy can help with travel hazards. He can spend a grit to get rid of some travel hazards, to cancel travel hazard. So that'll be nice. And of course, the Doc, he can choose an injury or mutation on another hero to try to get rid of them. But nobody did, because we did get actually kind of lucky on the last turn there with people dodging those last attacks from the flesh drones. So, but they are tough. That's Flesh Stalker especially. I have not looked at these Tools of Terror, but I can tell you right now, that one that I drew, I don't know if that's the worst one or not. I mean, it obviously didn't help that all our people were grouped together, so it could hit all of them. But at the end of his movement, he attacks all adjacent heroes. And that's, I'm assuming, considered like an extra attack as part of his movement. Kind of like, what is the assault, where they shoot right after they move, right? And then he gets another attack. And then, of course, you get the bleeding, which I haven't even looked up the rules for bleeding, but I think it's probably at the start of the hero's turn they take 1 wound or something like that. Or something like that. You know, I'm assuming, again, I knew the game wasn't going to last long, that we were going to run away, so, you know, and I forgot the Growing Dread card, which was simply move the death track by 1, which would put us at 5, which did nothing. But sorry, I'm rambling a bit here, but you know, this game is always fun and always interesting, especially starting out. You know, the characters, first level characters, are very fragile before you get any stuff. You don't have a lot of dice, and you know, these later monsters, these later enemies, are tougher than the standard core box enemies. So if you end up drawing some of them, you know, that's what you're gonna get into. You know, tentacles are kind of tough to an extent, but other than that, you know, spiders and the bats, you know, those can get mowed down pretty easily. You know, they just come in not large numbers, but you know, now you got flesh drones that come in large numbers. You know, they've got, you know, 5 health, 2 defense, you know, and 3 endurance, which means, you know, it requires at least 2 hits to kill them because they got 5 hit points, and they can't take more than 3, right? And then, of course, their attacks ignore armor, and their damage is equal to their hit rolls, so they're doing 4 to 6 points of damage. Anyway, you've got these new enemies. You know, the later ones certainly are ramping up the challenge. So, advice for people who are out there, you know, be careful. Figure out what your challenge is. Or, you know, play with these, but don't be afraid to run. That's, you know, or don't be afraid that your characters are gonna get knocked out and take you know, injuries. You know, I do have the doctor, so theoretically, you know, I could have played one more round and tried to see if I could kill the Flesh Stalker. Challenge is, I don't think I would have lasted another round. Even if I killed the Flesh Stalker, I think all 3 of my heroes would have gotten knocked out, which would have been bad. You know, having one character with an injury isn't necessarily going to be horrible, said, especially since the doctor for free can try to heal an injury. But I think that's it, folks. Welcome back to a new series. I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed these new characters, and I hope you'll continue following. You know, feel free to let me know if there was something that you didn't like or do like and want to see more of. I'm always open to suggestions. If you want some different viewpoints from cameras, you know, I can see what I can do. If you want, you know, more glimpses of the character sheets, or, you know, whatever sort of, you know, suggestions that you might want in making this a better experience. If these are too long and you want me to chop them into, you know, shorter segments, I can certainly do that too. Just let me know. Or, you know, hey, if you think, you know, you like the way things are going, and you like, you know, the format and everything, you know, feel free to let me know that too, and say, hey, thanks, you know, this is great. I appreciate everybody sticking with me. I apologize for my fairly long absence. Real life got a bit crazy, and I don't get paid for this other than the enjoyment of having you guys comment and saying you like watching it, and then being able to play the game myself. So I'm hoping to get this. This should be a weekly thing, just like Joseph was, and at some point Joseph and or Annabelle may make an appearance. I don't know. Obviously, they're both much higher level, and I don't want to skew these folks yet. But story-wise, I'm imagining these folks are in some ways contemporaries of at least Annabelle, perhaps, and so. It's very possible, so this is taking place probably just a little bit before the end. This is probably right around the time that Joseph met Annabelle. And so timeline-wise, they may merge once they reach Annabelle's level. The stories may merge. Who knows? That may be in the future. It may not. Depends on whether people, want to see a little bit of a crossover or not. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. Thanks, everybody, and have a good one. Bye.